A man who loves debunking D-bags. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on a choice. They've got a mandate. You get it on. Oh, when I was in high school, there was a very large gal named Debbie Hyman, and we called her Buster. And I just realized like how cruel everyone is. And I don't know if you guys can vibe with this, but I remember like in junior high, there was always the hefty chick.
Oh, yeah.
But we had some just giant women. And I don't mean fat. I just mean big.
Big.
You know, we had one named Joan. She was, 6 foot, 205, but not even fat.
Yeah.
And those are the ones I always sort of felt the worst for because the fat ones, they're things we could do. The big ones were just big. And that's got to be a tough hand to be dealt as like a 14-year-old girl, just to be big.
But
you know
my sister got a mean double leg. I can tell you what, man. My sister is
Is your sister big?
My sister is a massage therapist who could work on pro athletes. Just a muscular, just forearms, meaty. Could just club you, Adam Carolla. You'd be hard pressed to stop a double leg takedown from my sister.
It's hard to stop a double leg with a boner.
but a big girl, like Adam, a big girl. I did a gig once at a resort when I was single with another comic, and there's these two girls. They were nurses. Mm-hmm. The one was huge, about 400 pounds. Mm-hmm. But the other comic wanted to go with the other girl, and he goes, "Well, you have to take one for the team." And I said, "Look," I go, "What do you want to do?" She goes, "Well, I'll wrestle you." So I'll wrestle you, and if I win, you do what I want. But if you win, you do what you want. And the other comic goes, "And you could take her." I didn't know that she was a fucking Thai champion wrestler.
Yeah.
And she got me in a headlock.
The plume.
Pulled me down.
Yeah.
Behind the neck.
Yes.
Pulled me down, and then she had her way with me. But what was screwed up is I went back again the next night.
Hell yeah, bud.
But she was big, like you said, big.
Yeah, not fat,
not
big.
Fat, big. Like she was big, and I thought I can take her.
Yeah.
But what a weird,
What do you mean she got to do what she wanted to do?
So she said to me, "Okay, this is what's going to go down. I win. You do what I want you to do to me.
Yeah. What does that mean?
If you win, which means I had to go down on her. And then
maybe that's where she got that technique.
Yeah.
Forcing so many guys' heads toward her crotch. High head clip toward the crotch.
And I said it was. She had me down there, and I was doing all this stuff, and I said, and then the comic goes, "Where are you going?" I go, "I'm going back again tonight."
Hell yeah.
Because we're disgusting humans. But she was strong. That was the strong. She was a nurse, and she was the strongest woman I ever met. And
I'll show you the counter off the air, bro. If you want to get your way next
What's the
time.
counter?
The counter.
You should have done this.
So Greco-Roman. You got to counteract Muay Thai with Greco-Roman wrestling. That's the way to do it.
I did get punched and beat up by a large woman of color once, actually. Thinking back on it, yeah. But I had not hit puberty yet. I don't think so. I had an excuse.
Right.
But, yeah.
Because I don't know what it is. Like, have you ever met someone and you're like, they haven't done anything to you, but you want to fight them?
There's some type of thing. My theory on it, there's some type of ancestry, like the face, their facial dimensions. Or like your ancestors fought, or there's the spirit of the demons that fought your demons inside them.
Something.
And you're playing it out on the world stage for everyone to, it's something. There's something, a punchable face.
I remember Jennifer Goodson in a public school, and she was more developed, taller than us. And this kid, Liam, said, "Okay, you're going to fight her after school." And I was always told, don't fight with girls, right? Don't. And then it was like after the school, all the kids got together. And she goes, come on, bitch. Come on, bitch.
Wow.
And she's taking shots at me.
Where was this?
This is in Ottawa, Canada.
Wow.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was at Dunlop Public School. And
so you fought a girl?
Well, I didn't want to fight her. So Adam, I kept leaving, and they kept calling, you're a little chicken, you're a chicken. So I went, and she said, come on. I popped her once, and she went down. but we were like, what were we, 11 or 12 years old, and I didn't want to fight, but she kept punching me, and I said, stop it. And then I hit her, and
There's no winning. There's no winning. I got grounded and pounded on the school bus.
I'm not proud of it. I'm just saying now that these kids don't. I don't think that happens anymore.
No, they don't. They don't. Everything's in it. They have microaggressions.
Yeah, like
we didn't even know there was no such thing as a micro. Every day of my life was a microaggression, but that was with my friends.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I got punched by my girlfriend once many years ago when we were. The plan was I was going to go play softball with my guys, and then after the softball game, like on a Sunday, I was going to come back to our apartment, and then we were going to go out for like dinner and a movie.
Right.
But it was one of those things where we like won our softball game, and then all the guys were going to the bar, and there did one of those, just one beer, come on, you got time, and one beer turned into 19 beers, and I was there for a long period of time, and then I came home drunk at way too late to now go see dinner and a movie, and I just flopped out on the bed on my back in my softball uniform and just shut the light, and she's like, I'm just passing out. And she came into the bedroom and stood at the foot of the bed, and she goes, get up. And I go, oh, okay. And I stood up, and she punched me in the face. And as I was going down, I thought, good. I remember thinking, good, because I was drunk. I didn't care. I boxed. I didn't care if I could punch in the face, but I knew as I was heading back down toward the bed, we're now even because she punched me versus a day and a half worth of guilt and service and what about the movie and stuff. Then once she punched me, I knew she kind of had to apologize the next morning. So I was happy about that.
You got it over with quickly.
You would take one punch from an ex-stripper
100%
rather than days of emotional punishment, right?
Yep, definitely, without a doubt.
Have you ever woken up to a woman like this? She's like,
oh no,
yeah,
with a hammer, yes,
the hammer,
hammer.
And it's like, oh, what happened here?
Oh, I knew what happened.
So you had a. Well, can I say this? Let's talk about this, and then Angelo had a story he was saving for on the air. But I witnessed this on the ride home yesterday, and I'm always kind of curious with people and their expectation levels. Like, what are they looking for out of society, fellow motorists? You know, it's a kind of a thing I say all the time. Like sometimes there's a cube truck parked right on the curb, right where the driveway is, and you're like inching out, and you're trying to see around it, and you're like inching out, and then you see a car coming, and you stop, and the person drives past you and gives you the, what the fuck? You know, and it's like, what is your expectation level like on the road? First off, I stopped, but secondly, I'm trying to get out of the driveway. I can't see, so I'm inching forward, and then I see you, and then I stop. Is that surprising? Are you angered? You know, how high is your bar for what people should do? Shall I travel with a second passenger who gets out of the car and stands in the street and looks for people like you? So I'm driving home. I'm on the 101. It's traffic. You know, it's 4:30. It's not moving anywhere. I've got about 11, 12 miles an hour. I have hypervigilance. So the motorcycles that do the lane splitting, I will see those guys coming up more often than not when they're 50 feet away because I have hypervigilance. But I realize most people, when they're sort of stuck in traffic, aren't really in their mirrors. They're not changing lanes. They're not doing anything. They're just creeping along at 10 miles an hour. There's no reason to look in your rear view. You're not doing it. You're off ramps in another 4 days, and you're going 8 miles an hour. So they're just looking forward, listening to the radio, and creeping forward. But I see the guys coming up because of the hypervigilance, and I'll always make a little berth for them, like sort of scoot over. But the guy in front of me didn't see the person coming, was in their lane, but a little off to the right. They weren't in the center of their lane. I'd say When you're in the center, you got about 2 foot on each side of openness. This person was toward the right, but not over the line and not on the line, but maybe about a foot from the line on the right. I gave the guy some room. The first thing I notice is no thank you thing.
Right.
They
wave.
They used to do the 2 finger down back in the day. It was biker for thanks for seeing me. There's no more thanks anymore. There's just punishment if you don't. Used to be pretty consistently, you got the thank you, no more thank you. So this guy sees me, I move out of the way, then has to kind of thread the needle through the other guy. And as he gets the other guy, now, here's an interesting thing. Motorcycles have horns. I used to ride a motorcycle. Yeah. They're weak, but they have them. They're tinny. They're a little tinny, but there's a button, I think on the left side, that has a horn. They never used the horn. I think it's a puss move for a biker. What they do is they throw revs.
Yeah.
And throwing revs works if you got a 4-to-1 Kirker pipe or some modification. But if it's a stock pipe with like the baffles and stuff, it's probably better to use the horn. Never heard the horn. Because the horn is more courteous than the revs. The revs are angry. So this guy gets past me. He's trying to thread the needle with the other guy. The other guy's not over the line. He's not doing anything. He's just there in his lane. Guy throws revs, goes past him, then turns in front of him and does a hand thing like, hey, fucking wake up, like learn how to drive. And it's like, I don't know how much of this onus is on the guy who's stuck in traffic, going straight and in his lane. Isn't that kind of on the guy? The guy you're passing is doing 9 miles an hour. You're doing 30 miles an hour.
Right.
It's kind of on you. I rode a bike for years in this town when I was younger. I split the shit out of lanes. It was never on the driver. It was on me. Yeah. Now, if the guy pushed a mop handle out of his window as I was going past him or something, we turned into some sort of Gladiator game
or something, yeah.
Right, but no, in general, people are just driving, and it's kind of up to you to thread the needle. Why does this guy think he has to coach this guy up and how to drive when the guy was in his lane, never left his lane, and was just plodding ahead at 8 miles an hour?
But is that a cyclist thing? A motorcycle? Have you ever been in a bike lane?
Bike guys are worse than motorcyclists.
Because they're going... I was in Amsterdam about a month ago, and their bicycles are their cars, basically.
Right, yeah.
And I didn't know. I came out, and they were just... The guys going, get the fuck off the road. And they're going 100 miles an hour. They don't stop.
Because it's a dedicated lane.
But I think what Adam... I get what he's saying. Like, if you're stopped in your car, you're in the 101, these guys, it's their job to keep an eye on what they're doing. But they pull it out, and then they're... I don't understand. Like, I mean, to me, whenever something like that happens, just wave.
Oh, you don't have to do anything. You're threading through traffic. It's not on the guy in the car. The guy in the car's in his lane and he's plodding forward. He's not planning on you coming up. And by the way, you're coming up fast. That's what it is. This guy had to slide in front of him and give him some kind of tutorial on how to be a human being with his left hand. And I'm like, listen, douche, he didn't do anything. And why are you coaching him up? You're chiding this guy. He did nothing.
To me, it's the yin and yang. If you have a motorcycle, you get to split the lanes. You get to be a ninja through the...
Yes.
And sometimes you have to deal with ninja stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. There's like a dragon out there trying to crush you. You got to zig and zag. I don't know. I have hyper, I don't give a shitism, where I'm like, whatever. Like, if I don't die, I'm like, whoa, I made it.
No, I'm with you too. I'm like Trump getting shot in the ear. I'm like, wow, I'm still here.
I'm still here.
Moving on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you know what it is, though, guys. I think the guys on the motorbikes. And you're right. They have that privilege. They can get through traffic faster. That's why you have it. But at the same time, be aware. Like they're not. I think people are when they're driving. People aren't, like you said. They're not aware of what's going on around them. Mm-hmm. And my biggest pet peeve there is that you let some. This is an LA thing. You let people in. They should wave. Right.
I agree.
How about a little like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
I don't think they should, but it does make me feel warm inside.
The worst parking lot, Laurel Canyon and Ventura.
Oh, yeah.
That fucking plaza.
I know.
You let them in at Trader Joe's. Hey, I'll let you in, sir. He pulls in, doesn't do nothing. I get out of my car and go, hey, a little wave.
Can I also say this one too? I was driving. I had to go through the canyon to get back, Malibu Canyon, Las Virgenes, to get back to Malibu yesterday. For reasons I won't get into, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And I've been caught in that canyon in a long wagon train of cars because the lead car, there's something that people have about driving through a canyon that has turns in it that horrifies them. Like it's like a Mexican with the chupacabra. Like they're frightened, they're scared shitless of it. And it's like, there was a guy, I was going the other way, but I got to witness nothing on the other lane. Nothing. And I was going, what'd they do? Close the road? And then one guy in a Prius going like 17 miles an hour because they were scared shitless to drive through a canyon because there's a cliff and everything, but the speed limit is 40.
Yeah.
And then a wagon train of like 34 cars just fall. And it's like, look, you're not comfortable in this environment. You have 31 cars behind you. Just fucking pull over on the, just go ahead, just let everyone by, and then you can take your pussy ass and get it back onto the highway. But nope. And the person behind him's got to be fucking flashing high beams and hitting the horn, because when you're 19 cars back, you don't know what's going on. You're like, it's just fucking traffic. No, it's one pussy who's scared to drive through a canyon. And for me, it is so exacerbated because I race cars and I know, like, I literally sit in that canyon and I go, the speed limit's 35. I could do this at 80 and I'd be here. Like it'd be, the passenger would be white knuckling it, but I could get through. I could average 80 through this fucking canyon in a Ford Taurus, and I could do this. And the fact that we're going below the posted speed limit fucking drives me nuts.
But it's the same when people are in the left lane. Have you ever noticed, like, I was always told in the left lane is the passing lane, the fast lane.
Yeah.
So people will get in there and stay there.
Yeah.
And you're honking your horn going, go over. And they're like, in their head, fuck you. So what you do sometimes, you cut out to the right third lane, cut in front, then they speed up.
Yeah.
I'm like, why?
I don't get the whole psychological chess game that's going on with people. It's like, you're in the left lane and you're going 53 miles an hour.
Right.
It's 65. That means 75 to me. Maybe I'm going somewhere different than you. Maybe I have other priorities. Whatever it is, this is your choice. I choose to go faster, so let me go around you. It's not an attack. I'm not trying to impugn your character. I'm just trying to go somewhere.
Why is that though, Adam? Like, why? It happens all the time. Like,
it's pure narcissism. It's pure narcissism, which is to say, the guy on the motorcycle. The guy, I saw you coming up, so I moved over. The person in front of me did not see you. He doesn't know you. He doesn't like you or dislike you. He doesn't know who you are, and he doesn't care. The guy who then feels like he has to coach up the guy in front of me, that's full narcissism because it's him. You've done it to me.
Yeah,
it's me.
Right.
Anytime it's me. Understand, everybody, you are not you to the other person in the car. You're just somebody we didn't notice. It's not an attack on you. You know what I mean? Like when somebody pulls out and the pedestrian's crossing and you see the pedestrian guy go, whoa. That's a narcissist. It's not you. Yeah. We're looking the other way. We don't know who you are. It's pure. And that's, by the way, the era we're living in. You know, we just went through it with COVID and anyone telling someone to, put your mask on, bro. That's all. It's all narcissism. We're encouraging it. It's the self-esteem movement, and we're all fucked. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, even if you're going to Vegas, when it gets to 2 lanes, like sometimes if you're, like you said, I'm going 80 miles an hour, they're doing 60.
Yeah.
Just if people,
Well, I'm not a
someone's
narcissist. I'm just posting myself on Instagram.
on
That's
Instagram.
why I didn't even notice you back there.
I'll pull over. I'll go to the side and let them pass me because I don't care.
I don't care either.
I don't care.
I don't want the burden of them up my ass and holding them up. That's a burden on me. All right, Angelo, you had something you said you wanted to talk about?
Yeah. So I'm on an American Airlines flight. I'm coming back from Dallas to Burbank, our favorite airport, Burbank.
Yeah.
So I was tired. I had a gig the night before. All I did was put my seat, after the plane took off, I put my seat back. And I hear from the back, "You're crushing me. Stop crushing me." I go, "What the fuck?" I get up. I go, "What crushing you?" Because I was in first, whatever they call it. And then, "You're crushing me." There's a lot of room. I go, he goes, "You're not allowed to put your seat back." Now, what I'm going to ask you guys, like, what is this now? I thought,
I think the rule
What
is
is this?
once you get up to cruising altitude.
aren't you allowed?
When you get up to cruising altitude, you're
Yes.
allowed to.
Yes.
At takeoff, you're not supposed to.
Right.
So you may have been a little premature with your reclining.
I did it after we got to.
Oh, you got up and you leveled out?
We leveled out.
Oh, I thought you said you were taking off.
No, we were taking off. We leveled out, and then I said, "Okay, I'm gonna just put
Oh,
the."
well, that's nuts.
You're crushing me, and he made a big deal about it. He goes, "It's people like you." I go, "People like what?" I go, "Dude, I just want to relax. Put your seat back. Why should I?" So, and then it's funny how
How old is this gentleman?
this guy's probably like he's got to be about 50.
Who are the people who make it to 50 and don't know the rules of the game? You know what I mean? Like this is the person. Once in a while, you have the company softball game, and the chick hits it back to the pitcher and starts running toward third base. You're like, and then they always do this thing where they go, "Sorry, I'm not a professional baseball." It's like I know, I get it, but you've seen.
Yeah.
You've been on commercial flights. You understand they make an announcement when you're landing, get your seat back up to the upright position. Why would they make that?
Buckle your seat
Why would they
belt.
make a seat that reclines if they wouldn't?
Well, that's what I'm asking you guys because I said to the guy, you should know better. Better of what?
Is there any part of this, and I'm not questioning your integrity,
Right.
but when I have these conversations with women, they'll say things. I'll go, "Is there any part of this?"
Yeah.
And then they'll go, "Well, I called her son a little bitch before this exchange, but but that still didn't have to do with it." And it's like, well, yeah, but that helps me. That helps me.
right.
You know, was there any part of this where you took his overhead space?
Did you
or
put
there
your
was a
balls on his
situation?
shoulder when you were putting it up there?
Did you steal his Fiesta mix?
No,
Yeah.
none of that.
There's no
happened.
precursor.
Absolutely nothing. I was just, we're on the plane. Everything's fine. And then I thought, all right, we're at cruising altitude. Let me put the seat back. Maybe get a couple hours sleep. "You're crushing me. You should." And he made a big deal about it to the point where he got up. And I thought, am I going to drop this guy in an airplane? And I
Yeah,
go,
like
I said,
normally you only put your hands on women, but you'll make an exception, bro. That's what I say. I say, like, normally it's the bitches.
Normally, if you were in grade 6 or sixth grade, and I said to them, and I said to the guy, "Look, sit down. I'm tired. Sit down." I said, "I don't need this." He goes, "Well, what are you going to do?" He was taunting me a bit. I go, "Sit down."
All right, are we to believe that on a flight, that a guy in his 50s in a cabin where half the people recline their seat, more than half,
Right.
almost immediately upon leveling out, and many upon takeoff.
Yes.
Like Mike August, like you don't not wait for anything. It's like he's back as soon as we start taxing. He's back. But okay, upon level flight with the recline, this guy's beef was, this is way out of line.
It's out of line.
Wow.
You're out of line. And I'm like, well, why would they recline?
Right.
I mean, isn't that? We fly all the time.
Was he a well-dressed man?
He was okay,
All right.
but you could see, and he's mad dogging me.
We're talking Ross or we're
Like I
talking
went to the
Nordstrom?
bathroom, I came back from the bathroom, he's mad dogging me. And I'm looking at him going, this guy wanted to go. Like there was something wrong with him.
Maybe he viewed you with a punchable face.
Ancestry.
Your
You know what?
ancestors,
Ancestry.
the
Maybe I
ancestor
was.
demons. Yep.
Maybe I was the guy he wanted to punch.
Maybe, bro. You guys been feuding for centuries.
I'll
There
tell you
could be
what I've
only one.
learned when this isn't for first class, but for coach, like once in a while on Spirit Air, there's no recline.
Right.
But I've figured out that if you're a big dude, there's always recline. Big dudes just exhale and lean back, and there's enough flex because those seats have done 2 billion miles, and they're made thin for weight, and space. And if you've got enough upper body, you just lean back, and they will. You can get 3 inches of flex out of that. You can take. If you get like a Southwest flight, a seat reclines about 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches on recline. Right. A big dude can get 3 out of it with no recline just by fucking leaning back and sighing.
Plant your feet.
Yeah, just lean back and have a negative thought, and you will get that recline.
This guy wanted to go.
And did anyone come around?
Yeah,
did anyone witness this?
They were right there, and the lady said, there was a lady next to me, and she goes, I think he's upset about something. I said, clearly, and I'm like, I remember once.
Did she recline her seat in solidarity?
She did. She did. The lady beside me put the seat back.
And this guy had a seatmate as well?
I guess so. Oh, I wasn't sure about that, but he goes,
well, you could see if someone was there.
But
no, I don't mean traveling with a companion. I just mean there was someone sitting.
Yeah, there was somebody there.
And they weren't beefing.
They weren't beefing. He was. You're crushing me. I go, crushing you.
Now, there is. All right. I'm not here to be an advocate for this guy.
No.
But there is a situation where if he had his tray table down and like a brimming mug of hot postum on it, and you reclined it and it spilled on his lap, there is a reaction he could have.
True.
But also, that's baked into the flight. Like, you got to know that when your tray table's down and the guy in front of you hasn't reclined yet, do not put a bunch of hot liquids on there or stuff.
But it usually conforms to it, right? Even if it's down.
Yeah, I mean, it can jostle it, but you're crushing me, and what are you doing? Is a bizarre thing.
I thought we were going to go.
And nobody. So who intervened? Did anyone intervene?
Well, the flight attendant came over and he said something, and she said, "Well, once the flight level's off, you can recline the seats."
Yeah,
he's crushing me.
Crushing him.
He said it like my seat broke and I fell on him.
Yeah,
right. I'm not crushing you.
I was imagining you like snuggled up in his lap.
Yeah, I go, I'm not crushing you, dude. Calm down. You calm down.
I was just, there's also another thing. I just was talking to Fitzdog about this. Beef on an airplane very early in the flight makes for an uncomfortable flight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember having beef with a stewardess before we took off, and I was flying, and I was like, oh, I just fucked myself. And we had it was back when first class was first class, and they had a serving cart right at the front in the wide body plane with the champagne on it. And she was like in the back tending to people the whole time. But they had the champagne serving cart, and I was in first class. I was sitting in the very front of first. I'm sitting 3 feet in front of the serving cart, and I kept like looking back, like, "Hey, can I get a champagne?" And they're like, "I'm working with somebody over, putting something on the overhead or whatever." And I just kept sitting there, and I was like looking around. There's no one around. And at some point, I just got up, and I just went, "Well, I'll just pour my," and then the second she had, "Sir, this is not a self-serve bar," and I was like, and I was like, "Well, you were busy, and I wanted champagne, and so we were sitting here, so, sir," and I was like, "Oh, fuck." Yeah, fuck. Now she's pissed. By the way, I love it because women are allowed to be pissed for 6 hours or something you did that made sense because they weren't doing their fucking job. Luckily, I was flying with a friend of mine who's sober, and I was like, this bitch is fucking me over the whole flight. She's giving me the stink eye the whole flight, but my friend's sober, so it's like, she's like, any drinks orders? And she's looking at me, and then she would look at my friend. And I'd be like, get a double vodka tonic with a lime. Go, a double vodka tonic with a lime. She'd go, okay. And she'd turn around and leave again because she was pissed at me. And then as soon as his drink arrived, he just handed it to me. I said, this is the way this is going to work.
Because you already started it earlier, that's why.
It's a cart. It's got an open bottle of champagne and a glass. It's 3 feet in front of my knees.
But
they're nowhere to be found. And I'm in first class and we're on the ground. We're just sitting there. So I'm like, I'm going to help myself.
It's a matter of their limited power. And
yes.
When they have the power to jack you up.
There's also the shame. Listen, if you get shamed because you didn't do your job correctly, go find a mirror, bitch. Don't take it out on me because you shame them.
Yep.
And then there's a lot of people that if you do their job for them, they get pissed at you.
Right.
But it's because you pointed out
you're showing them up
that they didn't do their job correctly. But I'm not interested in shaming. I'm interested in shame pain, which is champagne. That's what that's all I wanted, bitch. I know you're internalizing all this stuff. I just wanted a little of the bubbly. That's all. That's why it's here. I got a first class ticket.
But there's anxiety with people traveling now, Adam. I mean, I was in exit row once. You know, when they say to you, I need a verbal yes.
Yes.
There's a guy at the window. I don't feel comfortable saying it. And she goes, okay, we can move you to another seat. No, I'm good in this seat. I'm like, oh, here we go. New York to L.A. And I said, dude, just say yes so we can go. I got to get back to L.A. I feel, society is making us conform and all this shit. I go, dude, just say yes. Let's go. He wouldn't say. Then the gay head attendant came over. He wouldn't say yes to him. Then the pilot came.
Wow.
And he goes, yeah, one more time. He goes, I don't feel comfortable. No problem. And then it was New York Transit Authority. And this guy came on with gloves. These guys had gloves. The guy came on the plane. I'll never forget it. He goes, there are 2 ways to get off the plane. You can walk off or we're going to carry you off. Either way, you're getting off the plane today.
What?
And the guy, I looked at him, I go, and in Greek, Malaka is wanker or jerk off. I go, you're the biggest Malaka I've ever met in my life. Just say yes so we can go. Yeah. He didn't say yes. He walked off, and they clapped him off the plane.
He walked off the plane.
He walked off. He's not going to fly for 10 years.
What?
Because when you're in exit row, they ask you, I need a verbal yes. All you have to do is this. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's why I always fly with Jeff Dunham. Because if I get some Malaka,
you get a Malaka.
I get fucking Dunham. Just goes, yes. and everyone looks around. And he can throw a yes into that guy's way. I only travel with Dunham. Now I'll open for him on occasion, but oftentimes I won't. We just travel together.
But let me ask you, Adam, why wouldn't he say yes?
The part of life, and we can find it, Dawson, at my least favorite. I have least favorite human beings. And they're not even like the guys who shoot up schools and stuff. I'm not fans of, but for some reason I hate these guys more. Because the school shooters and the whomever, the guy who preys on prostitutes or something, I just look at that as kind of baked into life. Like deep, like we're species. And a certain percentage of us are going to be gay and not procreate, and a certain percentage of us are going to kill ourselves and not continue the gene line, and a certain percentage of us are going to kill others. It's just kind of baked in weirdly. I don't like it, but I wrap my mind around it. The guy who just won't do the affirmative thumbs up in the seat, that part, I don't have space in my brain for that guy. I don't know who that guy is, and it's the remember the Asian doctor on the flight, Dawson, that I hated? This is going on 8 years now. He was a doctor who would not get off the flight, and it made all the rounds in the news. We talked about it. It had to be, this is going to be one of those timeline things for us to all think about, but had to be 8 or 10 years ago at this point. Could have been 6 to 10 years ago. Anyway, Asian doctor guy wouldn't get off the flight, did the same thing. The guys stand over the seat, the TSA guys with the gloves, and they go, look, you can get up and you can walk off of the flight, or we can drag you. We can carry you
Yeah.
off of this flight. So you get to make that decision. I mean, how many times have you... I've been in that position where the cops have said to somebody, look, walk out, get into the ambulance, and we'll drive you to the psychiatric center, or we can get you in a headlock and drag you. And they go, come get some. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I don't know why. I don't know why this is even on the table for most Americans. You know what I mean? Like, how many body cam footages have you seen of the cop saying to the Karen or the crazy black chick, I'm ask you one more time, get back in the car or I'm going to arrest you. One more time. You going to come at me? All right, well, now we're arresting you. And then they always go, what's going on? But I'm like, what do you mean what's going on? They laid it out. They told you what's going on. And this guy, but the better part in this thing, did we find what year? It was a doctor, Asian doctor. He ended up suing the airline or the TSA saying he got his tooth knocked out or something. I don't know if he died later or got arrested or something. He's my least favorite guy. But somebody had to stand in front of the guy's seat for 40 minutes trying to just get up. He wouldn't do it.
And he
for
just
40
minutes.
minutes.
Get off the plane.
2017, so my screen says. So that was 7 years ago, right? All right,
Yeah.
That's right about somewhere around where I had it. And they dragged him off. And the funniest part about it is there's always some woman who's on the flight. First off, you are holding up every human being on this flight. Every human being, someone's going to a funeral, someone's going to a wedding, someone's in-laws are picking them up and circling the airport. They don't know what's going on, but you're just sitting fucking everyone on this flight. I don't know if we have it. We'll put it on the screen if we have it, by the way, but we'll play it. This is... I don't know why I hate this guy more than anybody. And I also hate bitches. I hate guys who squeal, the guys who start doing something, like the biggest... Mayhem, you're with me on this.
I'm with you.
You
Okay,
hate a pussy. I hate a pussy. Like, like when Britney Spears is backing up in the alley behind the club and the paparazzi pretends she ran over his foot and he falls on the ground. I just want to go, get up, puss.
Don't
Get up,
draw
you
the
fucking
penalty.
bitch.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll play him getting off the plane.
Shocking scenes filmed on cell phone
Oh, wow.
by travelers on the United Airlines plane about to depart from Chicago's O'Hare Airport. A man who'd been ordered to give up his seat to a United
the hell?
employee and refused was violently forced off.
Not
by police.
violently. Well,
Oh my God!
Fellow passengers said
my
he had blood on his face as he was dragged by them. The airline later said he'd been chosen at random when no one volunteered to accept an offer of $400 and hotel accommodation until the next flight. He said he was a doctor and had patients to see the following day.
all right. So he's screaming, but still, he got back up and ran to the back of the... Okay, look, my favorite part of it is the woman who's sitting 4 seats over, who's been hearing them say to this guy for 40 minutes, you either get up and leave or we will forcibly remove you from this plane. And at some point when they actually do it, she goes, what's going on? It's like, what do you mean, what's going on? There's nobody who knows what's going on better than you.
You're sitting right
You're
there.
sitting here listening to this for at least an hour. You know exactly what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Why are people like you said? It's the same concept of standing at Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
You've been watching the menu for 15 minutes, and you get to the front, and you're like, what should I have?
Little anxiety
If
kicks
the
in.
woman's standing beside this guy that's being told, get the fuck off the plane for 20 minutes. What's going on? And the guy, call the police. I'm like, what?
All right, everyone's horrible.
Yeah.
Except for us.
Yes.
Yeah, we're great.
All right. I don't know. You guys can tell me, Bill Maher. Bill Maher frequently says a lot of stuff I say after I say it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he steals my jokes, but He could have folks in his orbit that may listen to things I say and then just sort of slide them over to Bill. And also, never underestimate human beings. I cannot tell you how many times people have said, "Oh no, that was my thing," or whatever, and they think it, and then I play them the tape from the pod or whatever, and it's like, no, that's my joke, But they will. People have all roads lead to narcissism. When you hear something you like or you think something is funny, you slide in to it and make it your own. Sometimes people definitely do that. So I was looking on Twitter. Bill tapes his show on Friday, and this was the Friday after the election. But there's 2 or 3 subjects to hit here. One is there are jokes that are stolen, and then there are jokes that are going to be every funny person's first thought when they hear it. Right. Which I always go like, when they do those, when comics do those jokes, I go, Trump wants to get rid of Mexicans and then he wants to build a wall. Who do you think's going to build that wall? Yeah. Irish guys?
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, all right, every comedian sort of has that thought, or many comedians have that thought. So this is him talking about Kamala on Friday.
Women, that had to hurt for Kamala. I mean, the whole thing must have been very painful. And they say she saw the writing on the wall around 10 o'clock at night on election night. She called McDonald's to see if she could get her old job.
I don't know why. Now, one would argue, why did he laugh through the punchline of calling McDonald's to get her old job back? But on Wednesday, I sent Rudy a text, and I went, "Oh yeah," I said, "Make a meme of Kamala, pulling the help wanted sign off the McDonald's or trying to get her job back at the McDonald's." Basically, is what I told him when I woke up the day after the election. Right, knowing full well that there's going to be 100 guys who have this thought at the same time, but I can't read it very. I just go, I had a meme idea, something with Kamala looking sad and a help wanted sign in a McDonald's window, or some version of that, basically trying to get her job back at the McDonald's. Well, it's just the same joke. But this meme was out on Wednesday morning, and then his monologue was Friday. And I do not say he or his guys rip off my jokes, but they think alike, I would say.
Well, look, everybody needs content. And I've seen this with comedians. So comics will go hang out like at the Ha-Ha or something. And there's a new talent night or amateur night. And a comic comes up with a good bit. The other comic, the comic's been around, goes, "Hey, that was really funny. By the way, I do the same joke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You shouldn't do that anymore." And they lift it, and it happened. I've seen this. I've heard this.
Really?
So it's like they saw it, and what happens is that the writers, I see it on old jokes that I have that new content creators will take and act out or feel it. So you put the joke out, which was funny. Kamala will go back looking for a job at McDonald's. Some writer, somebody saw it, said, "Hey, we can take Adam's joke and we'll just verbalize it or we'll film it." And that's what's happening. But when I hear about comedians who go to new comics who don't know, and they go, "Oh yeah, that joke you do about, visiting your grandma and wearing a dress. Yeah, I do almost the same joke. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, just don't do it." And then it's on their HBO special. And I thought, no, that's a douche move.
Yeah.
But they'll do it.
I don't have enough self-esteem to steal people's shit.
There is parallel thought. Like you were saying, there is parallel
yes,
thought to a degree.
And this McDonald's joke would have to fall under parallel thought because she made such a deal over working at McDonald's, and now she's out of a job, so she should go back to this place. She never had a job. By the way, she never worked in a McDonald's. It's insane. It's also, we're kind of cool with that. Like, she just lied about working at McDonald's. Which is... My whole argument with that is they go, "Well, you don't think Trump lies?" And I go, he does, but that's your beef with him. her thing with Biden and Kamala lie all the time too, but your argument is they're virtuous and he's the liar.
And he's the liar.
So all I'm saying is they're both liars.
I like how you said your beef with him, McDonald.
Yeah, your double beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese with him.
Sesame seed bun, motherfucker.
But at least Trump went up there. He was serving fries and doing it at the drive-thru.
Oh, they hate him.
Never touched by human hands.
All right, shall we take? I should tell everyone something on a sad note. A friend of the show and friend, Dennis Prager, who was just here last week, has suffered an injury.
Oh, boy.
I was with him. There's certain people in life where you hear about something bad happening to them, and you're kind of agnostic about it. But Dennis is one of the good ones, man. He's just the greatest guy. I spent Saturday night with him at his benefit at a gig at the Beverly Wilshire, and I did about 10, 15 minutes at the top, and then he came out and we had a dialogue together for like an hour, and then he made a thing and we hugged it out, and a day or two later he slipped in the bathroom and hit his head and
shit.
Spine issues and waiting for the swelling to go down, but no feeling in the extremities, and a real bad medical situation. So people hear about it around, and you should know that his wife Sue reached out to me, sort of wanted you to hear it before the news got hold of it, kind of thing. So thoughts and prayers. I'll keep you guys updated because I'm texting back and forth with his wife, who's very on top of it as well. But sad news, and sadder in the extent that I just saw him on Saturday night and had a great dialogue in front of an audience at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. All right, we'll take a break. We got news, and we'll do that with Mayhem right after this.
Hey, I'm Adam Carolla. That's Brad Williams and Jay Leno. Hey, buddy. Over there, we're doing our third annual comedy fantasy camp. That's going to be January 23rd through the 26th, right in Hollywood, California. Where else would it be? These guys are going to be there.
So remember, 2 out of every 3 comics make it big.
Well, 1.5.
Do I get paid for this? Please tell me I get paid for this.
Go to comedyfantasycamp.com and get in on the fun.
Morgan & Morgan, life can be crazy sometimes, and one person's negligence can result in another's settlement. So let's hope that if anything happens to you, you get hold of Morgan & Morgan. If you're ever injured, check out our good friends Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. And as long as we're in the more department, more than $20 billion with a B dollars recovered for over 500,000 plus clients. Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting and getting you full and fair compensation. Going on the road, doing stand-up every weekend, well, that can be hard. But submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan, that's easy. So go with Morgan & Morgan, right, Dawson?
If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Adam or dial #law #529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/Adam or #law #529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
If it sounded Greek for my father, it was Greek. That's it. Remember that movie, Boys in the Hood? South LA gang members. We're watching it with my dad. The guy comes up, yo, I'm going to pop a cap in your ass. What's that? Pop a cap in your ass. Stavros, pop a cap in your ass. You know him? Yes, he's related to Dimitri Bagamachis. That's it. He's Greek too.
Angelo Tsarouchas is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Angelo's got dates coming up.
Yeah.
He's going to be at the Chateau Ritz. Oh, that sounds pretty nice.
In Chicago.
That'll be December 1st.
December 1st.
And then the Laugh Factory.
Yeah, Covina.
Oh, I was just out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Russell Peters is coming out there.
Yeah,
Good
Russell,
dude.
We're doing it with Russell's going to be hosting the show for me.
That'll be December 18th.
December 18th at the Covina Laugh Factory. Crystal Marie's on it, and Ron Jossel and Kevin Millard. It's a little.
That is a stacked lineup.
That's a good lineup. Well, they're all friends, right? And And Crystal's great. She's funny. And Russell, and it'll be a fun show.
All right, should we do some news,
Let's
Mayhem?
do some news. Whoopi Goldberg's in the news. She says she likes to be eaten occasionally. A raunchy joke shocks the Sarah Haynes on The View. Check it out.
I always wanted my face on cheese.
Yeah. I like to be eaten from time to time.
Woo! Is it just me or Whoopi Goldberg look more and more like a muppet?
She also, I was watching her. How much more comfortable could you dress for TV? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she's literally just wearing a beach towel and slippers at this point. Like, she couldn't. First off, like, when she goes home, what does she change into? Just like a comforter? Like, she just dressed up. She's put a comforter over her head?
Like, this is her pajamas. She's all comfortable. And
you want to talk about the greatest gig in the world? She makes $8 million a year on The View. She shows up in pajamas, sits there and says nothing. And mispronounces everyone's fucking name and bum stumbles through cue cards and gets $8 million.
Good gig.
$8 million fucking bucks a year for sitting around in slippers and sweatpants and a hoodie, bum fumbling through your own comedic thoughts and not even stringing together. And by the way, at some point, it is funny to me when at some point comedians abandon comedy. They're like, now I'm just a commentator, except for now you're not funny and you can't put thoughts together. Like, you don't have any fucking thing to say and you're not funny. At least before you were funny.
Right.
But now it just be like, if it just went, it's like if Pauly Shore went, no more comedy. Just retarded thoughts. Just whatever. I have no more thoughts. There's no more comedy where I'm just going to do stupid thoughts about stuff that I don't understand.
Well, I see it with a quarterback. You know, you had your career like Tom Brady. Now you're in the analyst booth. That makes sense. You can't really, but a comic can still do comedy. It's not like you're. But you're right.
Joy Behar's a comedian and Whoopi's a comedian, and they're not even.
They don't care because you know why, Adam? They're getting $8 million a year
to work in their pajamas.
I think I give up comedy also. $8 million, sure.
Greatest fucking gig ever. The View. What
I'm beginning my transition now.
Didn't they just get into it over something? One of the two co-hosts.
They always do that. Every
that
like
just
6 weeks, I got a news story about that where they're just, jawing at each other, and then everybody gets mad and they have a pajama rip-off party.
Yeah, Sonny's always crying racism for everything.
And
there's always some other chick going, and then you have, get your policies together and get more votes. And she's like, what about racism? Everything's women racist. It's always ironic. I always find it ironic when people, or especially like women of color, sit up there and then lecture everyone about the systemic racism and how you can't get ahead and stuff, but you're getting $8 million and they send a town car to your home every day, and you're sitting up here hammering checks, doing nothing, and making tons of cash. And by the way, before you had this gig, you went right through the system where you were like head this and lead counsel for that and appointed this and everything. It's like, explain to me again, super rich person of color, how it is you're being held down by the system. And half these people are 60 years old. They were swimming like a shark through this oppressive system 30 years ago, 35 years ago. Like, okay, misoppressed. After you graduated from Brown University with a full scholarship and then got on at a prestigious law firm in 1983. How was that? How'd the oppression go again?
Is it just good to say it, maybe?
It's all narcissism. Right. It's all narcissism. Right. Plus, they have some sort of weird thing, and I think all of us can vouch for this. White heterosexual males who walked on a construction site when I was 19 and picked up a fucking shovel for $7 an hour and just fucking slugged it out. That's all I did. There was nothing. Well, you know who my dad is? They do this stuff all the time where they go, well, listen, come on, Mayhem. You fucking born on third base. Thought you hit a fucking triple. You know what I mean? Is there any accommodation for just poor people? Yeah. And sometimes they're white. And sometimes their families are broken, and sometimes there's welfare and food stamps and poverty and neglect and depression, and they have to they get out of high school and they don't go to college. Yes, white guy, no college, just work. Same with all my buddies. Like, they don't even think those people exist. They're like, well, sure, of course. Oh, like when I walked on the construction site, like the foreman went, oh, Mr. Corolla, this way. No, you're not going to toil in the sun with the Mexicans. Come inside. We're going to teach you the fine art of finish carpentry. Now they just fucking hand me a shovel and told me to go outside.
Wasn't it Johnson who has the quote where he said something about where you set the poor whites against the blacks and they think they're better? And then that way you can control the populace? Yeah,
they pit everyone against everyone. They're all fucking race hustlers and no one should fucking listen to them. And they just lost because of their race hustling. So good. Yeah. Good riddance. Anyway.
Hey, next up, Whoopi. Gladiator 2. Cut a gay kiss scene, says Denzel Washington. He kissed a guy full on the lips for no reason. He said they weren't ready for that yet. Yeah, so there's footage out there somewhere of Denzel making out with a dude.
It wasn't in the script?
I guess not. No, it was. It was in the script, but the scene got cut out from the theatrical cut.
Is that one of those Chinese things?
It sounds like
that ain't the United States.
No, it sounds like we want to release in China.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
Take that out.
Exactly. We have to do a Chinese edit now because there's so many potential ticket buyers over there. There's so much cash that we just have to do it for them.
That's what as soon as you said it, that's what I thought.
That's what you thought, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is because, he kissed the guy and knows that he plays the emperor or something, right?
Yeah, and he's actually earning some Oscar buzz for the best supporting actor category. It's very. I didn't think so for a sequel to a action movie. They're saying that there's Oscar buzz.
We have a video of it. Oscar Buzz was my gay porn name.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, no, they cut the kissing scene off.
All right, let's see.
Your character makes a few remarks throughout the film about having a relationship with other men in the film. So I wanted to ask, how gay is the Roman Empire?
The entire empire, or I actually kissed a man in the film, but they took it. They cut it. I think they got chicken.
I was going to ask because I just heard about the Paul and Pedro forehead kiss that apparently got cut from the movie.
I'm not sure about that one, but I kissed the guy full on the lips, and I guess they weren't ready for that yet.
That's funny.
But your kids are gonna love it.
They kissed. There was. It's a weird thing. You tell me. In the movie Rush, James Hunt kissed the character James Hunt kissed the guy. I can't think of his name. The guy who bought him the F1 car, who sponsored him in his first F1 race. The chubby guy who was the team owner. Can find this clip when he unveiled that he was going to let James Hunt, he send him up to F1.
That was played by the Australian actor, right?
I don't know his background, but he was really good in the movie. And the movie's really good. He gave him the 2 hands on the face and the kiss on the lips. Now, if you kiss on the lips, you're gay. But if you get the guy's head in a vice and do it, you're
comical.
not gay.
That's comical.
So what? I don't know why, because one is assault and sex. The other's just a sexual thing. But it's gayer, 0 hands. 2 hands, kiss, not gay.
Well, some cultures say if you're the receiver, you're the gay one, not the giver. I'm not kidding you.
You have to aggressively.
Yeah, if you're the one taking it, you're the gay one, but the guy giving it isn't. don't fucking
Was this
understand
knowledge
that at all.
passed down through the ancient Greeks?
I'm telling you, man, this is like I was in Greece. He said this thing. Like, hold on, you're putting yours into his, but he's the gay one. Yeah.
But I thought that was a gag, like from vaudeville, like when you grab the guy's head and smooch him. Like that's always
Bugs
like,
Bunny.
Yeah, exactly.
But so if they cut it out, he must have made out with him.
Yeah, it was sensual.
Hey,
Salacious.
Denzel's looking good. I look out with him.
Sharp, yeah.
Yeah.
You looking good?
Look, if there's
But
one
I think that's what it is. I think it's the China factor. They're going to probably take it out of the film because then what was the other film they did that with?
Top Gun.
Top Gun. Remember?
He had like a Taiwan patch on it, and they photoshopped it out.
And they took it out.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's so sad, but it also shows you that Hollywood will do anything for money all day, every day, and they never stop talking about being virtuous. But if it means making a nickel, they'll do anything,
right,
all the time.
Yeah, they made John Cena like.
Apologize in Mandarin. Yeah. They'll do anything.
That was surreal, yeah. He was like full on, they're like, yeah, in Chinese, apologizing to the, I don't know, because he said something about Taiwan.
He said something about Taiwan being a nation or something. They don't even like maps that have Taiwan on it. He said Taiwan is this place and China's that place, and they made him apologize. And then, the owner of the Mavericks, or not the Mavericks, but one of the owners of
Rockets.
The Rockets said something about China, and then and they made him walk it back. I mean, look, here's my thing: whether you're the NBA or whether you're Hollywood or whomever you might be, you want money. Yeah. I want money too. I do not blame you for wanting money. Well, if you're Nike or Apple or LeBron James, you want to get paid. Right. I get it. Spare me the morals conversation. That's all I'm saying. Just say you want fucking money. Don't give me the conversation about freedom, and don't give me the conversation about human rights and living in dignity, and then support China. Just shut your fucking hypocritical mouth and go fucking hammer your checks. Don't give me your fucking speeches on morality and then tell everyone else to shut up when they're talking about China because you're scared and you want more money. Just shut up. Stop giving me the fucking speech about being better than everyone and doing business with China. Just hammer your fucking checks, because Hollywood gives you the morality speech and then sucks China's dick. That's what they do. And so does the NBA. So shut up. Just shut up.
It's true. No, you're 100% right. Because look, there was a show called Famagusta about the invasion of Cyprus 50 years ago. The Turks invaded Cyprus and occupied. It's the only occupied capital in Europe. Netflix was going to put a show out called Famagusta. Turkish government contacted the American government and said, we don't want this to be aired on Netflix because, we're really good people. We are not. And then they didn't do it because of the same reasons. Right. And then they said, but we're good people. Bullshit. I think what happens is you're 100% right, man. Money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's it.
Listen, I've said it a million times. The most liberal guy in this town is Bryan Cranston. I drove him to Burbank Airport so he could get on an airplane to go shoot Breaking Bad in New Mexico because they got a tax break.
Wow.
Everyone here will just get on a plane and leave if they can save a nickel.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So good. Just spare me the part where you go, pay your fair share. Come on, rich people, pay. You fucking cowards get on an airplane and leave at the drop of a hat. This entire town clears out to go film somewhere else to save a nickel. So don't give me fucking speeches about, what about a little more for the kids? Hang out, pay a little more, and do your productions here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's... Look, everybody. I love when they get their speeches, and we have to create. We're community. We have to create. We have fucking bullshit, man. You're going to go to Romania or Botswana.
They go anywhere they can save a nickel.
And
that's what. And by the way, they get angry. Like these businesses, they're starting these offshore accounts. Try to just stay here and pay your fair share. Okay, their business. They're trying to save money. That's all. Same way when you go out of town and shoot a film. Business, trying to save money.
Yeah.
What the fuck's the difference? Okay, stay here, do the right thing, pay your fair share. Okay, all of Hollywood, stay here, do the right thing, pay your fair share. We have the kiss from Rush. They slowed it down and they put music to it. Oh, no, we have the actual kiss. Sorry.
Your brother and I got together with the bean counters. And since the economics of F1 are not so significantly different to the economics of Formula 2, well, we thought if we were going to be losing money, we might as well be doing it on the big roulette table in Formula 1.
You fat little inbred beauty.
Oh, he loved that. That's that guy Hemsworth.
Now, that's also considered assault now here, right?
Oh, yeah. Full on.
I got to say, when I was watching a movie, it's about the only time I raised my hand when he went, and since the economics of F1 are not so different than Formula 2, I was like, there's a little difference in terms of money on running a Formula 2 team versus F1.
I didn't even know there was a Formula 2 until right now.
Fat little bastard. And then I made out with him. I go, but he put probably $50 million into that.
They got F1, Formula 2, Formula Atlantic, Formula Ford. There's a lower
and what? It's
division.
Just like how much money you can spend on the car.
You can kind of tell it by the width of the tires. The tires get skinnier as it goes down.
Oh, really?
And the price of running an F1 team versus Formula Atlantic or something like that, it's just exponentially, like 1,000 times more.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, this is 1978 or something, so there may have been a little closer, but no. There's a big difference between F1 back then and Formula 2 or whatever. But anyway, good movie.
That's good. It is a good movie.
Yeah.
Is that the one that Ron Howard directed?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a really good movie.
It had some type of, magic in there you could see. Yeah. Look, get ready for your ears to bleed because Mark Zuckerberg just dropped a single with T-Pain. Yeah. T-Pain and Zuckerberg did a cover of Get Low. This right here just blows my mind that Mark Zuckerberg is just, is buying his way to celebrity. Like where I've seen him do like short action movies with all the top stars. Like a 3-minute clip, if you can find that too. 3-minute clip of him fighting John Cena and winning. And I'm just this nerd just took over the entire world where he can just buy everything and do anything. Yeah.
It's not enough, rich guys in the past, all they wanted was brandy, cigars, a library with their name on it.
And an army of horse.
Mistresses. Yeah. That's all. Simple pleasures. You know what I mean?
Sounds good to me.
It sounds good, right?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, they had to I need to occupy Mars. I need to travel space. I need to buy an island. I need to take on Chuck Liddell and fucking tap him out. When did all this begin? Just
occupy Mars.
Just hang out with your mistresses, drink your brandy, smoke your cigars, and get a library, and we'll put your name on it. That's all.
Oh, we have the clip, huh?
Have him.
Z-Pain.
Three, 6, 9. Damn, you're fine. Hoping you can sock it to me, baby, one more time. Get low, get low, get low, get low. Get low, get low, get low.
That's what that chick was telling you, Angelo. Get down. Get low, baby. I'll help you down there.
She did. Eat it.
Till sweat drops down my balls, till all these bitches crawl. Oh, skeet, skeet, motherfucker. Oh, skeet, skeet, goddamn. Oh, skeet,
Is T-Pain a big deal?
Yeah, T-Pain is one of the biggest recording artists of the last 10 years. Yeah, he's the guy who does the robot voice. You know it. You've seen it. You've heard it.
I hate the robot voice.
Yeah, he's a talented performer, producer. He's a guy who gets he'd make a song a hit.
How much free advertising did Zuckerberg give him for this?
No, that's what I'm saying. He's the classic guy who bought all his friends. He's the nerd that bought all his friends.
Yeah.
And good for him, I guess. But yeah, he went for, if you remember the movie, that came out, Social Network, kind of made everyone hate him because he kind of snagged the idea, did some joke thievery, and then everyone hated him. But now he has bought his way into the good graces of the public.
Well, it's kind of interesting because Social Network's a great movie, and he kind of comes off like a douche, even though I got plenty of room for those kind of guys. I don't judge. But then you get the Winklevoss twins, and then you get Armie Hammer, but then you get Armie Hammer accused of cannibalism, and then everyone kind of turns to Armie Hammer and starts turning on him, and then we give Zuckerberg a break because we found a guy who was in the movie, even though Zuckerberg wasn't in the movie, but he was portrayed by a guy who made him sound like a douche. But then we found a guy who played twins who were in the movie, but he wasn't the guy, but he got accused of cannibalism. And we got kind of confused and distracted, but we were like, as a society, we're like, give the nerd a break. This fucking tall guy's eating bitches. And then we all turned toward him, and then we gave Zuckerberg a break, but it was never him. It was his character. I don't know. I'm confused even talking about it. And now Armie Hammer's trying to make a comeback.
Yeah. What? He never ate anybody. I
don't give a fuck.
Isn't he the heir to the Arm & Hammer baking soda thing?
Holy shit.
I heard that.
I've been told this like 8 times, and I always get confused because somebody brings it up, and then somebody says no, or something. But now we got to look into it.
Somebody thinks. I mean, his name's Armie Hammer.
Which is kind of a funny
the heir
thing
to the Arm & Hammer? Is it? But then maybe that's why they named him.
Yeah, no, Arm & Hammer has been a thing since
forever.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe
I don't know if it's true.
They just gave a funny joke, like a pun. His parents named him a pun.
I think there's some connection, but somebody's going to have to look it up.
Baking soda on his victims before he eats them.
Arm & Hammer is a relative, and I think his grandfather, and his name was Arm & Hammer, and then he bought Arm & Hammer.
Jeez.
Oh,
his
grandfather.
For a joke, like everybody was like Arm & Hammer, and he just went ahead and bought it because he's
so Armie is the grandson of the guy. So he's kind of good, right? Like he doesn't have to work, right?
Yeah. I think he's okay.
The only time you get into some weird shit like cannibalism is when you have enough money to stock the way where now it's weird. Now I can't just bang chicks off Tinder. I got to figure out how to fantasize to eat them. Yeah.
I don't get, we're such a stupid society. Like a guy sending weird texts. Who cares? We don't care. Do we care?
Nah. It's a strange fantasy. It's like toe sucking. Maybe I'll try it, but.
I'm getting all these weird texts now anyway from people I don't know. It's a new thing. Are you getting them on your phone? People just randomly sending you, hey, you want to meet up for drinks later? I'm like, who is this? I just delete junk.
Really?
There's something going around, and that people just sending you stuff, and my phone will ring 5-6 times a day, and I don't know who. If I don't recognize a number, they give you the local like 818 or 310. I don't answer it if I don't see a name attached to it.
That's a scam center in India or China where that's their whole strategy is to be like, oh, whoops, and then it's a hot chick. You're like, wow, I can't believe my luck. And then you start chatting with her, and then she's like, buy me an Apple gift card. And then you buy her an Apple gift card, and then she never gives you any pussy.
But it started because I wanted the free Wi-Fi at the Des Moines airport. Ooh. And then I signed up and gave it. That's probably, and I went to a mailing list all around the world. I think that's what it is now.
Oh, no, they have a thing where there's a scam inside the airport where somebody just brings a Wi-Fi spot and then comes and jacks all your info.
Jacks all the information.
And you only get 18 months for that.
I get an email. I wake up to an email every day from the Kamala Harris campaign. I got one this morning.
Really?
They still need money because there's still work to do. And I'm like, man, you got the wrong dude. But not only you got the wrong dude, it's been over a week. You lost. How much? You had $1 billion. That wasn't enough? No. And who the fuck is donating after the loss? After you guys spent $1 billion,
they got to pay creditors.
I guess, but that's a weird one, right?
Adam, I heard all the performers all those big names that were supporting her all got paid.
Well, they
all got paid.
There's controversy. Okay, so here's how it works. All right, in my humble opinion, they confronted Oprah, and they're like, Oprah, did you charge $1 million to do your interview with Kamala? And then Oprah goes, I never got paid a penny. Well, Harpo Productions got paid $1 million. So that's kind of Oprah lying, because I have an entity and a production entity as well. And if somebody said, did Daily Wire pay you for Mr. Bertrand? I'd go, no, they didn't pay me. Well, they paid my company. Oprah has company. She has a production company. So she got $1 million. Her company gets $1 million, but guess who owns the company? Her name is Oprah. No, nobody brought a sack of nickels to Oprah's house and paid her. They paid the company. So she's lying, but not really, because she goes, I didn't get paid, but her company got paid. Then there was, here's what they paid Beyonce, and here's what they paid Cardi B, or whatever. Now, here's how our society works. Allegations are made. Then you look it up, and PolitiFact says it's untrue. And then you go to a couple other fact-checking websites, and they say it's untrue. And then 3 to 7 months from now, it's true.
Yeah.
So that'll be how it'll go. It's untrue for now. And I don't even know. I mean, Joe can look, because Joe and I did kind of look it up a little, and I keep seeing it. But here's the problem, I think. If you Google, here's the problem. I don't know, Dawson, maybe you have some dark website you can go to or something. But here's the problem. If you Google, 51 intelligence experts signed a doc that said Hunter Biden's laptop had all the earmarks of Russian collusion, right? So if the next day you Googled, is Hunter Biden's laptop real? The first 10 things that would come up, it's been debunked. And then you would go, all right. And now I'm going home, except for Google is not feeding you. They're feeding you what they want to feed you. So now you have to be careful that when you Google, it's just going to be the shit that they want you to read, and they're bought and paid for to an extent. So now you have to really check. So I don't know. I do know Oprah got $1 million, but it was her production company that got $1 million.
Not her, the company.
Yeah, which is her, but okay, it's a technicality. Now, other people, there's a difference between saying I need $1 million to perform, and it's going to cost $1 million because you got to fly me, hair and makeup, my team, my fucking backup dancers or whatever, the sound system. There's expense that goes along with it. So there's some of that. So it can get like gray area-ish. But I would assume, knowing what I know from the news, anything that is alleged and then immediately gets debunked turns out to be true. But they wait until people don't care. So this will probably come around. But if you go to Google, the first 3 things that come up will be it's been debunked. But then that's Google's algorithm as well.
Well, it makes sense to me that you want to get that celebrity endorsement. You raised $1 billion. So it's like, look, we want to get you. I think she was in Houston with Beyonce and then Chicago with Katy Perry. So it's like, let's get that celebrity endorsement in, right?
I wonder like, we only hear about the top 5. We hear about Eminem and Beyonce and Cardi B, but does it keep going? You know what I mean? Like, hey, Peter North, here's $6,000. You do have a community. You know what I mean?
Talk about this.
You have a certain community. Like, we got enough money to give everyone a couple of ducats. Like, if people know, doing stand-up, they'll give Seinfeld $200,000. But there's corporate gigs for $2,500 that you've got our name on it, right?
I got a gig.
Right.
I got a gig. It's like Taylor Swift. She endorsed her, and it was like, it's going to hurt her. No, it's not. She's walking out with what, $1.1 billion net after this Eras tour. $1.1 billion net. It's like, and then it was like, but Elon. I'm fascinated by Elon Musk.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, the fact that when he endorsed Trump, I was like, this is why this guy's the richest guy in the world. He fucking knows shit.
Did you find anything? Or is it still, because I keep hearing it both ways, but I'm not sure.
All I have found is that there's no proof that any of these people were paid by the Harris campaign. Like, there's no paper trail. So anybody saying that they were paid, it's hard to prove that.
So the person that made it up just went 5 to Beyonce and 1.7 to Cardi B and like 1.5 to Eminem. Like, they're just making.
I think those numbers are on the spends for those events.
Oh, for the events.
And then
where they perform.
The Harris campaign spent $5 million yesterday. Beyonce was there. They spent $5 million on a Beyonce performance.
Oh, I see.
Kind of thing.
Right.
Because there's no paper trail of like them getting paid.
Okay. Dark web, Dawson. Same outcome. All right. I will assume something will come out at some later date.
We're never gonna know.
Oh, we'll know.
Eventually, like you said,
we'll know when
7-8 months.
people don't care. It's like by the time we found out Lance Bass was gay, nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
We
about
needs
it.
to know back when he was on top. You know what I mean? Or bottom.
Wait, Lance Bass is gay?
Oh, man. Damn. I didn't want to ruin your day.
Fuck, again.
I know. You thought he was going to be your wingman. Well, he still could be. All right. We got another story.
Yeah, Joe Rogan lists Harris's campaign, the hilarious requirements for appearing on his podcast. Yeah, he divulged this list. He revealed that Harris' campaign had multiple conversations about her potential appearance and gave her an open invitation to come by, but they ultimately blocked the interview. They had requirements and things she didn't want to talk about, such as marijuana legalization, which he thought was hilarious, which is a big deal because that's Joe's like main thing.
I know. It'd be like coming on this podcast and not want to talk about vintage Datsun parts. Yeah. Well, there's a couple of weird. I never understand. I don't understand anything. You're going to make this request. Then you're going to get denied this request, and then the person is going to talk about the request you made, and then you're going to seem even worse than you are.
Than you were, yeah.
So why are we even attempting this? Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think her handlers didn't want her going on Joe's show. I think she didn't have enough. Joe was going to ask her all those questions. Where I saw the thing with Trump, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever." It's like having a conversation. He doesn't care.
I get it. I mean, like, first off, isn't there sort of a baked-in guilt if the cops go, your wife's missing, we want to talk to you, and Mark Garagos taps you on the shoulder and goes, no.
Yeah.
No. Well, if you just woke up and your wife was missing, you'd then sit down with the cops and just go, I woke up and she was gone. I don't know where she is. She's not here. I don't know. But it's a little baked in admittance of guilt. We're like, okay, you can interview this person, but you only have 20 minutes and you can't talk about X, Y, or Z. And then we get edit approval. It's like, well, what are you saying about your fucking person?
Right.
We'll play the clip, by the way, with Joe. The good news is it's now a bygone era. There's no more. So I'll explain. Play his clip and we'll tell you about it.
Yes.
I was surprised she didn't come on the podcast a little bit.
It seems like, and this is all reports, these are all anecdotal reports, right? But it seems like her campaign was kind of chaotic. Like, no one could make a decision. They had, I don't know how many conversations with my folks.
Right.
But multiple conversations, giving different dates, different times, different this, different that. And we knew that she was going to be in Texas. So I said, open invitation.
Right. You said you can come whenever you want.
Anytime. You pick a time, I will be here.
And you would have been the best person for her to talk to because you're not going to attack her. You would just ask her questions, but that's the problem. I don't know if she'd be able to answer those questions.
I'll ask her a question, but I think they had requirements on things that she didn't want to talk about. She didn't want to talk about marijuana legalization, which I thought was hilarious.
Why?
Like, that's so... Because of her prosecuting record.
Oh, well, I mean, that was her old job, though.
Yeah. and she put a lot of people in jail for weed. 1,500 apparently.
It's not really that
Allegedly.
many, though. 1,500.
Tell those guys, those 1,500 together in a room.
Are they still in prison?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think
Then they're fine now.
Well,
prison really builds character. You go in there.
All right, so let me explain the New World Order. Joe, you can clear the screen because that's basically what I said, right? The New World Order is publicists had a playbook, and the publicist playbook worked for like 75 years. Mm-hmm. They did a lot of like, here's what you do and here's what you don't do, and here's what we're going to do, and here's what you can ask, and here's what you can't ask. And it used to work for apologies, too. So it used to be some celebrity would get caught making some racial slur or something, and then the publicist would go, okay, this is a speed bump. I'll just craft a little letter, and then you go out, and then you read it, and you apologize and talk about volunteering with the Eskimo community, and so on and so forth. And then we go back to work the next day, like it's all gone. All right, now you get fired anyway. You know what I mean? Like there is the old playbook didn't work. You just do
Inuit.
Inuit. Yeah, you used to just have to read a prepared apology that somebody else wrote for you.
Right.
And it's like, look, it's going to be one shitty afternoon. Go up there, read this shit, pretend like you mean it, and then we'll go back to work. And that's how it used to work. We'd call for someone's apology after they did whatever, and then they would apologize, and we go, all right, now go back to work. Now we fire everyone. The old playbook doesn't work. Kamala Harris, her people still had the old publicist playbook.
Right.
Tell Joe Rogan he's limited to an hour. He's not going to talk about pot. He's not going to talk about this. He's not going to talk about that. And then we have the power to edit out or whatever. Tell him that, and then we'll show up. No. And that's the old playbook, which was perfectly acceptable in the past. Now you say it, he goes no, and then he talks about it on the air.
And then
so it's gone.
Yeah.
And the apology's gone. You get popped doing something, you go, fuck you, I'm going to Substack.
Yeah, and no, just so you know, one of the requirements was for him to come to them.
Right.
So,
I'm just
which
saying
would be weird.
It's all yesterday's. It's all your dad's publicist playbook. It's all out the fucking window.
Yeah.
The New World Order is you show up, sit down with Tucker Carlson, and smoke pot. That's the New World Order.
Right. I think you're right because in that instance, if you think about it, it's like she was Attorney General. How many people she put away in jail?
Now you're 1,900 actually.
Right.
Like, that's the real number.
Running for president now, and part of the the curriculum here is now: are we going to legalize weed all across America? And it's like, well, I don't want to answer that question. Well, then, like you said, Joe's like now he's taking all those talking points. Now he's going to talk about it for the next 6 months.
Yeah, the other New World Order is you go on the Sunday show, and when you start getting attacked, instead of backpedaling and trying to explain yourself, you go on the offense and start fucking them up.
Right.
That's the next New World Order.
Double down.
That's what happened in this last cycle. And so what you had is one campaign was on the New World Order, and the other campaign was sort of the old version of what they work. Look, they did it with Joe Biden. It worked. Keep him away from the tough questions. Keep him sort of hidden away. Go on the attack. Accuse everyone else of being racist and misogynist and whatever, and we'll get across the finish line. And it worked. So they just went. We're going to dance with who brung us. The other one went scorched earth, New World Order, and now both sides will go New World Order from this day forward.
Yeah, because I think you're right. You can't do that. You can't go say, don't ask this, don't do this. It's especially in a podcast format. It's one-on-one. You want to get to know the candidate. And I think, defense to her, not that I'm a big fan, but they threw her into the lion's den. America doesn't know who she is. Here's a chance for you to let them know. No, you're not going to answer this. You're not going to answer that. We're going to edit it. Her interview on 60 Minutes. What a shit show. And I thought they edited the whole thing, and it looked like it was edited. So people, you're right, it hurt her. as opposed to helping her. And I think people aren't stupid anymore. They look at this going, okay, it's editing, it's Photoshop. I have it on my phone.
But it's also authenticity.
Right.
We will forgive your foibles and even the things we disagree with. You know, the New World Order is like, you get caught with an extramarital affair, you just go, yeah, stupid. Wish I hadn't done it, but I'm a dude. I had a boner. And then we go, oh, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Versus bullshit dance thing, and then we don't. Yeah.
He's this, he's that, he did this, he did that.
We don't care anymore. All right. We got one more?
Yeah, I got one more. The satire publication, The Onion, buys Alex Jones Infowars at auction with Sandy Hook's family's backing.
They bought it?
They bought it, yeah.
How do you buy it?
Well, because he owes more than $1 billion in defamation judgments against him. If you remember, there was a huge trial where he, sat on the stand and had to take shit from the prosecutor about the fact that he said that the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting was false flag, that it was crisis actors.
You know what I don't get, though? I'm not defending him, but aren't you allowed to just say whatever the fuck you want?
That was his defense, was that he's just on an entertainment show. But the fact that he played it as a news show and defended himself as giving the true news worked against him. Because he can't just go and talk gibberish if you're saying you're a part of a news show.
Right. And then the damages would be the family of the deceased kids would say they were, by the way, everybody's threatened online now. Everyone is just.
No, but they went a step further. There were some of his fans would go and chase down these people, and go to their house and say that you're a crisis actor, you're fake, and it really caused them a lot of distress.
Oh,
well, I was kind of like all my buddies at the time that this was happening. I watched all my buddies become indoctrinated by Alex Jones, and I watched them go from regular kind of dudes to just hardcore conspiracy. They believed every conspiracy that this guy, thought, including the Newtown, which that was to me a road too far. I was like, yo, you guys are going fucking crazy. Those people really died. Like, those kids died.
Well, even if he was able to successfully convince America that Sandy Hook didn't happen, there's still Columbine and countless other school shootings. So what do we what? It's almost like saying, look, the side of your car's caved in, but I'm going to convince you never got into an accident. Yeah. But there's still accidents, right? You're trying something to happen. What do you? All right, there's one out of something that's happened 50 times. So why is that even important to him and or the people that follow him? And to disavow one school shooting in a sea of school shootings, what does that prove? Like, all right, that one was a hoax. Then there are all the others that weren't hoaxes. Right. So what's the end game? What are we trying to get people to do here?
No, his end game, I mean, and I remember, it was not in this article, but I remember that watching the show, his whole strategy was that the fact that they're going to put bigger gun laws on us. That was his angle. His angle was, they just did this so they can take away your guns. And really it just buys back upon itself because Alex Jones was selling tons of supplements. He had a go bag. Like he had a whole Alex Jones industrial complex of. They watched his show and the show is very entertaining. He's yelling about the turning the frogs gay, and he would it was entertaining as hell. And he would got these guys locked in and would sell so much merch that it made billions of dollars. So now he's has to sell it all off. The Sandy Hook's families, they're getting something back from this finally.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up at this point, we still have a handful of Don't Do Your Best, Do My Best t-shirts available.
All right, buy one now.
Nice. At AdamCarolla.com. I think
promo code Mayhem for 10% off.
Yeah, and Onion, if you're listening, want to have a cup of coffee? I'll listen to what you have to say.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, sorry. Let's see. Dr. Mark Hyman is supposed to be joining us in a couple of few, but he's not on yet. But he's a doctor, so I'm going to guess he's prompt. Do you have another story?
Nah, no stories.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
we're done with that. Alex Jones.
All right. I think I'm going to bid adieu to Angelo. Or actually, you can hang out. The doctor's probably going to tell you a bunch of shit you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm loosely basing that on just some observations.
Keep listening to the doctors.
But he's going to zoom in, so why don't we all hang out?
Okay.
We'll all hang out.
Sure.
And we'll talk to Doc. We'll get you all coached up. We'll do that right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. They offer friendly, helpful service and parts and knowledge that you need to maintain all the repairs and keep your car running smoothly. I've always been a fan of O'Reilly. I remember when I lived up in La Crescenta in my rented house with all my roommates, and I'd work on my Isuzu Trooper, and then later on my Toyota Supra. And I would go up to the O'Reilly up on Foothill, and that's where I got all my know-how, and I got all my parts. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in the store or online, so you're never in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free, and they'll do it in or out of your car, so you can bring it in, or you don't have to pull it out of your car. They'll come out and do it in the parking lot. Need your windshield wipers replaced, brake light fix, quick service? They'll help you find the right part, or they'll point you to the nearest local repair shop for help. So whether you're a car aficionado or you're a novice, you get with O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're knowledgeable, they're helpful, and best of all, they are friendly, and you can do it online or you can go in. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit them at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey Adam, this is Paul from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Just want to say I made a leek and broccolini quiche. It was awesome. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Dr. Mark Hyman is joining us. He has a podcast, The Doctor's Pharmacy, with Mark Hyman. MD, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. Angelo and Jason are with us. Dr. Mark, if you hear other voices in this conversation, good to speak to you.
Great to see you, and good to talk to you, too. Thanks for having me.
So I think you're on sort of the same page as our friend Vinny Tortorich and Dr. Drew Pinsky and many other people that are saying, keep it kind of keto and stay away from the carbs. And I think we've all signed off on the, eat the burger and not the bun part of life. And that's now...
That's a good line. Eat the burger, not the bun. I'm going to use that.
It's been accepted, and we understand it. We still can't discipline ourselves enough to do it, but we understand it. But then you start getting into a nuance thing, which is vegetables, nuts, fruits. I talked to a lot of people that are eating like bananas and pineapple, and they're going, it's fruit. And I go, yeah, no, you're supposed to eat blueberries and apples, but you're not supposed to eat that. And they go, hey man, it's fruit. And I go, hey man, you're still going to get fat. But
yeah, apple juice is fruit. No, that's not going to work.
what are the do's and don'ts in the fruit and then the vegetable department?
Well, first of all, eating well is not complicated, and the food industry makes us deliberately confused by giving us competing messages. And the truth is that at the end of the day, it's sort of what Michael Pollan says: eat food, mostly plants, not too much, right? And so I think most of our diet by volume should be vegetables, non-starchy vegetables. So anything that's not like a potato, basically, or super starchy vegetables. Sweet potatoes are okay, but all of those are fine. And you can get unlimited refills on veggies. There's no limit on that. You can have 40 pounds of vegetables if you want every day.
The sweet potato is quite a bit better than a regular baked potato.
Yeah, I mean, yes, generally yes, but there are also small Peruvian potatoes, which are also, you get purple potatoes and the red potatoes. Those have more nutrient dense, and there's more heirloom potatoes. Those are fine. But basically, any kind of vegetable, colorful, non-starchy vegetables, you can have unlimited refills. It's great. In terms of fruit, you want to be smart. Like you said, pineapple, bananas are not your staple. They can have occasionally, or grapes. But stick with the berries, stick with apples, stick with kiwis, stick with low sugar fruits, and those are much better for you. And lots of good fats, olive oil, avocados, nuts and seeds. Depending on your genetics and metabolism, you can consume plenty of like even saturated fat for some people, but some people can't tolerate it. And then, animal protein is actually, believe it or not, good for you. Despite what a lot of people believe, there's a small cohort of vegans that are very loud, but unfortunately, they're not going to be, in terms of the data, reflecting what the science says. And you look at patients. In fact, I co-founded a company called Function Health, and it's startling to see the amount of nutritional deficiencies we see in the population, and especially in vegans. We've seen in our cohort of patients, they're deficient omega-3 fats and vitamin D and zinc and iron. And in certain nutrients that are really important for health, and these are things, iodine, for example, because you're not getting that from fish or seafood. So we through our comprehensive testing platform, which allows people to access their own data on their own biology, it's like $1.37 a day basically. You go to functionhealth.com and you can learn about it. But essentially, it's allowing us to see the amount of sickness in the population and the amount of metabolic dysfunction. And so you really want to be smart about what you're eating. And animal protein actually provides lots of iron and lots of antioxidants and minerals and vitamins, and also protein, which we need as we get older for building muscle, because muscle is the main thing we need to keep as we get older. Otherwise, we get in a metabolic crisis. And so you need about 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight of protein, 0.7 to 1 gram, depending on how active you are. And it's far more than most people are getting. It's far more than dietary guidelines say, which are basically to prevent a deficiency disease like you see in Africa, not actually for optimal health. And so, if you have lots of good fats, you have lots of good protein, you have lots of good veggies and fruit, lots of nuts and seeds, like that should be your diet. And whole grains are fine if you have small amounts. Beans are fine if you have small amounts, but they can be also very starchy if you have to be careful of that.
How big an issue is all the seed oil that seems to have found its way into every product? And I'm sad to say that even the great Paul Newman, when you look at his salad dressing, the olive oil and vinegar Italian dressing, you read the back, it's sunflower oil, olive oil, and vinegar. Like, it is in everything that is made has some sort of seed oil in it. And you have to get out your jeweler's loop. Like, if you buy mayonnaise that says made with avocado oil, turn it around, because it'll say avocado oil, safflower oil, and then egg yolks. Like, it's crazy, right?
It's crazy. I think, I like to think of evolutionary. What did we eat as human beings? And if we didn't eat, 152 pounds of sugar a year, it's probably not a good idea for us to be doing that, but that's what we're doing. And that's why our metabolic system is in our bodies is so broken. Same thing with the oils. 10% of our calories is soybean oil. 100 years ago, it was almost nothing. It's gone up 1,000%. And they're not inherently bad, right? If you're eating nuts, if you're eating sunflower seeds, if you're eating soybeans, if you're eating certain seeds, that's fine. You're getting omega-6 from those. That's fine. If you're refining them through processes that require lots of heat, that oxidize the oils, that use deodorizers, decolorants, that have hexane in them, I think they're problematic. And that you can get forms of these oils that you can use at home that are expeller press, cold press, that are organic, that don't have a lot of glyphosate on them. But canola oil used to be called rapeseed oil. That was a terrible name, so they changed the name to canola oil.
Right.
But but it's highly sprayed with these pesticides and glyphosate or herbicides, and those are harmful to human health. So I would say I don't include those as staples. I'm not fanatic. If I'm going to a restaurant, I'm not like going to say I'm not going to eat here because they make it with this and that. I definitely don't eat fried foods because they're all fried in those oils and they're highly oxidized. I think we should be not eating ultra processed food. And if you don't eat ultra processed food, you're not going to be getting these things. And if you cook with them at home and they're in the forms that are, expeller press, use them a little bit to stir fry a sesame oil, I don't think that's a problem.
Well, I think if you distilled our sort of modern age into from what it was to, to what it is, if you just use the example of, you have to be around long enough to see the kind of meat is murder thing. And I grew up with a kind of hippie mom, so I got a front row seat to the stupidity and insanity and the sort of indoctrination because it became like a religion for folks. And, at some point, McDonald's stopped doing their fries in the beef tallow, right? So and they started doing it in vegetable oil. So if you would have said to my mom when they made the switch, she would have said, "Great, a victory. Get all this beef fat out of here, which is poisoning our kids, and put this hearty everything vegetable was good." So we switched it from the beef to the vegetable, and everyone got fatter, and it turns out the vegetable. Hold on, is everyone sitting down? Turns out my mom was wrong about something.
Right.
So her streak is alive, even though she isn't. But she was wrong about everything, and we as a society were wrong about everything. We were like, do not eat those eggs for breakfast. Have this hot cereal for breakfast with some brown sugar. And it's like, nope, do not eat that butter. Eat the margarine. It's heart-friendly and it's plant-based. And we were basically just wrong about everything, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I remember Fleischmann's margarine. I grew up on that. Better living industry. And I think that the truth is, we had this view that processing was good, that all these new innovations in food were good, that it was going to help human health, it was going to help us live better lives, it was more convenient. But it was a massive initiative by the food industry to subvert public health and to disintermediate people from their kitchens by insinuating processed food into the American home in every way possible. Betty Crocker was an invention of the food industry. And if you know a Betty Crocker cookbook, most of you probably had that at home. Betty Crocker was not a real person. She was a fake person that was supposed to compete with this home ec teacher named Betty, who was promoting healthy food and gardens and teaching mothers to cook and raise healthy families. And they're like, no, we need convenience. So they started putting out, look at the recipe. You can put 1 can of Campbell's cream of mushroom soup in your casserole, or add 1 roll of Ritz crackers to your broccoli, thing. And it's like they sort of slowly would disrupt the kitchen. And now most people don't even actually know how to cook. And I've heard that they're now building apartments without even kitchens in them.
Oh, really?
Wow.
It's terrifying. Yeah, in the UK. So I think we need to take back our kitchens. We need to take back our bodies. And again, this is sort of why I think people need to be empowered with their own health data and their own health information. I co-founded this company, Function Health, and the reason I've done it is that I worked in medicine for 40 years. I don't see it changing fast. I think we need to create a disruptive technology that allows people to access their data as data-driven information about what's going on under the hood, your metabolic health, your nutritional health, your hormonal health, your cardiovascular health, and your gut health. All these things you're not being checked by your regular doctor. And, we do over 110 initial biomarkers. Normally you get like 19 when you go to your checkup. And we're seeing such a diseased population. Like 96% have small cholesterol particles, something never even checked. I saw this yesterday in a guy, very, very well-known guy who had a blood cholesterol of 166, which is perfect, like normal. Any doctor would say you're normal, you don't need treatment. But he had over 1,000 small particles, which means it's extremely high risk for heart disease. And so you're not getting the right information from the current healthcare system, and people need to be trusted with their own data. People are wearing Oura rings like I am. They need to know just not only what's happening at the surface, but under the hood. And that's so empowering for people because it allows them basically to have 1,000 doctors in their pocket guiding them on how to live healthy lives.
How much, I know Bobby Kennedy Jr. a little bit. I've done a few of his benefits and went to his birthday party and, text back and forth a little bit. And he'll be back on this show at some point. He told me he's basically drinking out of a fire hose right now, which I totally understand. But when the dust settles a little, he'll come back. There's 2 parts with a guy like that. One is, so impressed by that guy. So substantial. You know, when you have time to sit in a room like this with him for an hour, you really get an idea for who he really is. And then there's the cartoon media side of him that people buy. I don't think what people understand that when you get to meet these people, there's a media cartoon side of them. And then there's who they are. And
that's right.
And this notion that, you know, and it's usually people on the right. You know, there's a cartoon version of Trump. There's a cartoon version of Tucker Carlson. There's a cartoon version of Joe Rogan. There's a cartoon version of all of these people, except for when you know them and you spend time with them, you go, oh, shit. There's a cartoon version of Elon Musk where he's some idiot that's just getting a bunch of money and throwing it around. Like the media who disagrees with these people create a cartoon version of very substantial, bright, and not only bright, educated, and patriotic people. Like, they love this country. They're doing what's best for this country. The cartoon version, if they're trying to enrich themselves with their crony buddies, nothing closer could be further from the truth. So when he's attacked, it's sad. It's sad that smart people buy into it. You know, this vax nut.
They attacked me too.
Right. But
you know how you tell the pioneers? The arrow's in their back.
Right. You wrote a book with him several years ago. But what's your feeling on it? It feels like the government fights us at every turn when we start talking about practicality and health. You know, we just went through COVID. They argued about everything except for taking the vaccine. They argued over everything that didn't profit Big Pharma. It was an opportunity where they could have said, you know what, if we could shed a few pounds as a nation and start getting healthier, we would have a much better shot during this pandemic. All they did was talk about what a killer the pandemic was, and we knew that it was disproportionately affecting people that were overweight and people with pre-existing conditions. But God forbid you brought it up. If you brought up losing a few pounds, then they all turned on you, which is insane. Every other press conference should have been telling America to put down that Subway sub.
I agree.
But now we have Kennedy. So what are our hopes?
Well, listen, I've been working in this field for a long time, fighting this fight. I wrote a book called Food Fix, how to save our health, our economy, and our communities and our planet one bite at a time. And I laid out from field to fork the problems with our food system and how to fix it, from what individuals can do to what communities can do to what businesses can do, but more importantly to what policymakers can do. And I think we're at this historic moment where we can see some significant policy change across the government agencies that have to do with health. Right now, we don't have a healthcare system. We have an illness industrial complex. We have a system that profits off of people being sicker and using more services and using more medications. That needs to stop. We need to use food as medicine. We need to reimburse for food as medicine. We need to change what's in our food supply. We should stop the government from paying for food that we know is killing people. You know, I think if I were king, now was advising the current administration, I would say, anything that the government has its hand in around food needs to be guided by one single principle, that this food is going to promote health and well-being of our citizens, that it's not going to kill them. So why are we paying $12 billion a year for soda for the food stamp program or SNAP? Why are we the number one source of profit for Coca-Cola, the U.S. government, from our SNAP dollars? It's 20% of their profits are from the government of the United States. That's abominable. We need to have school lunches making healthy kids instead of sick kids. Now 40% of kids are overweight, 20% are obese. 20% of kids are on SSRIs or antidepressants. You have 1,000% increase in autism, a rise in ADD. These are all related to food and these additives. We know this. There's studies in Europe that show clearly a lot of these additives that need to get out of food are causing ADD. So we really have to revamp from field to fork every one of our policies. And I think Bobby Kennedy is someone who's thinking about this, who understands these problems, who's very controversial, but I think he's maligned and people actually don't listen to him. Like you said, if you sat and listened to him for an hour, you understand he's not crazy. He's not anti-vax. He's not promoting things that don't make sense. He wants better science. He wants to get the crap out of our food. He wants to build a regenerative agriculture system. And I don't think anybody can argue with any of those things.
No, they can't. And then, but they do because they buy the caricature CNN version of everybody, which makes them fucking idiots. Do not watch CNN and have them explain to you who this guy is or who that guy is. Or don't watch The View and have because they think he's some guy who's dressing like Napoleon, who's an anti-vaxxer and whatever. I hear smart voices, intelligent voices who parrot back the cartoon version of everyone. Look into everyone. And by the way, if CNN or the mainstream media is attacking somebody, and it could be somebody or it could be ivermectin, that's your wake-up call to look into that person or ivermectin or whatever it is they're currently attacking. Look into it. Maybe they're correct, but I bet you'll find out differently. But the question sort of is, how much of this is a conspiracy in the sense that, you find out, like, I'm naive.
I don't know if it's a conspiracy, but there's certainly forces that are profiting from making us sick, and they're not willing to change unless somebody's going to make them change. And the WHO has basically come out with a whole series of papers on the commercial determinants of health, how multinational and transnational corporations subvert public health and privatize the profits. They socialize the costs and privatize the profits. So we're paying as a society, taxpayers are paying for all this, and they're making out with the dough. That needs to change. And I think this is not some left-wing or right-wing conspiracy theory. This is just looking at the data of what's going on. I document it's all in my book, Food Fix. And I think there's many other scientists around the world that have documented this. And I think we're in this moment where this could be a historic change. And somebody will go, okay, wait a minute, this has to stop. We have to hold people accountable. Why is there crap in our food that they don't allow in Europe? Why do we not have practices for agriculture that restore the ecosystem, the soil, and produce more nutrient-dense, better food like they do in other countries? Why are we having food labels that don't make any sense, whereas in other countries like the UK and South America and France have clear labeling that makes what you're eating? Is it going to kill you, or is it going to make you better and healthier? I mean, we should have clear information and transparency and clarity, and the government honestly has been hijacked by the food industry. I mean, this one GMO labeling bill, they spent $192 million to defeat the bill to label GMOs, and we are the only country other than Syria, which I don't think we want to be in that club, that doesn't have GMO labeling. Even Russia and China, which are not known for transparency, label GMOs. So I think this is the power of the food industry, but I think this administration has the potential to stop that.
Yeah, what I'm talking more about is, Dove comes out with the campaign with a bunch of fat chicks in their underpants going, everybody's healthy, and God forbid you say something and you healthy and you fat shame, or God forbid Bill Maher suggests people lose a few during COVID and the media turns on him, you know what I mean? Like, are these people propagandists? Are they getting paid? Are they just stooges? Like, what is going on? Like, I'll give you an example. Hamas and Israel are going at it. And then the next thing you know, there's a bunch of kids at UCLA and they have the flags of the Palestine or something. And you go, where do all these kids come from? And then why are they so concerned? And then you hear some other stories. Someone's paying for them to be bussed in, and who's paying for their tents, and who's feeding them. And you're like, is there somebody behind this? Or are these just kids sort of organically? Is there something behind attacking Bill Maher for suggesting people should lose weight? Or anyone who fat shamed, anyone who said Lizzo should have lost a couple of pounds 5 years ago was then summarily attacked by society? Or are these all just sort of useful idiots?
No, I mean, I think we really have this attempt to subvert good information.
Yes.
But I think that with Bobby Kennedy and some of the other initiatives that are happening, hopefully they'll pick the right person for the USDA. We can move things forward. The body positive movement, I understand the rationale for it. You don't want to fat shame somebody. You don't want to blame them for being sick. I sat with Francis Collins, who was the director of the NIH. I said, why didn't you use COVID as a teachable moment to get America to focus on nutrition and food? He says, oh, we don't want to blame the victim. I'm like, it's not their fault. They're living in a toxic food environment in a swamp. And if it's a food swamp as opposed to a food desert. And that is what's killing Americans. And you owe the country responsibility as someone who's in charge of its health.
Well, he's a propagandist fuck-up stooge, so fuck that guy is what I have to say about Francis Collins. I'm sure he's a nice guy who deceived everyone and fucked the nation over. Fuck him.
Yeah, he's cleaned out when it comes to nutrition.
Well, he shouldn't be in charge of stuff, is what I'm saying.
He's not anymore.
Whoa, the cartoon version.
Jesus Christ.
He's not anymore.
But Doc, I want to ask you, 'cause I'm listening to everything here. Socioeconomics makes a big difference here, doesn't it? Because we're told what we're supposed to eat, but most people can't afford it. And I think when I say that, what I'm saying is that with the profits of the food companies, and I think myself being type 2, you were talking about with Adam, pineapple and bananas. I got to watch all that stuff. But at the same time, I think, I'm asking this question. Do most people know what to eat but can't afford it? Is that possible? Or is it we're just blinded by labels and stuff?
That's an amazingly good question. And the answer is that even you, who is very aware of these issues, has been brainwashed by the food industry because their messaging is it's too difficult to eat healthy. It's too expensive. It's elitist. It's discriminatory. It's racist. And so let us give you processed food. That is their propaganda. It is not the truth. And the data is very clear on this from data, study after study, from my experience as well, that you can eat well for less. Now, you're not going to be having a $70 ribeye that's grass-fed, but you can eat whole, real food. And I did this with a family in Easley, South Carolina, one of the worst food deserts in America, where they were living on food stamps and disability, a family of 5 in a trailer, never cooked a meal in their life. The mother was 100 plus pounds overweight. The father was on dialysis at 42 from type 2 diabetes. The son was like 16 years old and 50% body fat, which is, he should be 10 to 20. And he was on basically diabetic. And I showed them how to cook a simple meal. I used a guide from the environmental working group called Good Food on a Tight Budget, how to eat well for you, well for your wallet, and well for the planet. And basically, they did it, and they lost 200 pounds as a family in the year. The father got a new kidney, lost 45 pounds. The son lost 50. The mother lost 100. It was quite amazing, and all I did was teach them how to cook one meal. They had no idea what they were eating. They thought everything was low fat. It was like Cool Whip, had no trans fats. It was all this stuff that they were eating was processed, and it was just, propaganda from the food industry that makes all these kind of health claims on the label. So, and by the way, your diabetes is 100% reversible. If you get a carbohydrate restricted diet or a keto diet, your diabetes would go away. You'd get off all your medications. You wouldn't need insulin. This is from not my opinion. This is data from like Verda and many other peer-reviewed published studies in major medical journals showing that this can be done. And I think people don't have the information. So the answer is they don't have the information. And essentially, people don't know what's going on in their bodies. And again, this is why I co-founded Function Health, to give people the power to understand what's going on in their biology. And people need to know. People walking around with all kinds of metabolic stuff, with all kinds of hormonal dysregulation, with all kinds of nutritional deficiencies, all kinds of autoimmune inflammatory issues that are treatable. And it's like having 1,000 doctors in your pocket. And we, for I think your audience, there's a 500,000 person waiting list, but we provide a code. It's called ADAM. You put the code in ADAM. functionhealth.com. You use the code ADAM, you jump the wait list. It's quite amazing to learn what's going on in your body.
I have two thoughts. One is we throw out excuses. The excuses is how much money it costs. It's bullshit. I've said it a million times. Now, you're not going to want to hear the answer. It's like I used to say, make your own kids' lunch. And they'd go, we don't have, certain families don't have. It's like, hard-boiled eggs, an apple, nuts. It doesn't cost. It doesn't
take that much time.
Pot of beans and rice or whatever. It doesn't cost. And don't give me the you don't have money bullshit. They hide behind we don't have enough money. Untrue. Poor people have been eating fine. This entire society. That's what we do. Now you have to cook it yourself.
Right.
And it's not. It's not the ribeye. It's the hard-boiled egg.
We were poor. We made cabbage soup. We had cabbage, carrot, onions with a piece of cheap meat flanking. My mom calls like basically short ribs. and you with a can of tomatoes.
Right.
And it's an amazing dish.
And
super
they-
nutritious. Pennies, but a penny.
And they also do the low information thing, which I think is bullshit as well, because any 9-year-old understands that it's better to eat an apple than a piece of cake. They understand it. We've just lost our will. It's not that they don't know it. They know it. And a lot of it is labeling and government and misinformation. I get that part of it. But the average American understands that a hard-boiled egg is a more nutritious thing to eat than a piece of pizza that has stuffed crust. But we don't want the fucking hard-boiled egg. That's the problem. And we understand you're supposed to exercise and eat right and eat your vegetables and not eat. We understand all of it because every kid knows it by the time they get out of the second grade. The information is not the part that's missing. The money is not the part that's missing. The willpower, delayed gratification. We're in a world where you just dial up Grubhub and it all shows up at your door.
True.
An hour later, that's where you get porn on your phone that day, that morning. Yeah. We've lost the will to have willpower, and we have to start working on that aspect of it, because you can tell everyone until you're blue in the face what to eat, but if they're weak and their constitution is weak and they've lost their willpower, then fuck it, they're going with the pizza and not the hard-boiled egg.
I was at my friend's house. He has a $100,000 kitchen, and they have like Del Taco and all the stuff on the island and the kick. They don't use their kitchen. You're 100% right, man.
But they know what they're supposed to do. That's
nobody cooks.
That's
nobody
what
cooks.
I'm saying.
Well, people don't know. People don't know. Like I can tell you, it's shocking to me how Americans have been disenfranchised from their own kitchen. They don't know how to shop. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to take care of their bodies. And this is a deliberate action by the food industry as a whole to kind of make their products center of our dinner plate, but they shouldn't be.
No, I agree. I agree with you, but you take any woman in America and have them figure out that somebody down the street was missing, and they would turn on their laptop and they'd start taking a deep dive into, burying bodies at sea, how can get a body to decompose using lime and stuff like that. They'll become super expert sleuths in 10 minutes. If they were motivated, if people were motivated, you have a phone. If you're motivated to eat healthy, it's all there. Now, we just see the commercial for Taco Bell, and we know what we're doing. We just do it, which is sad, mixed with misinformation. But last question for you. For me, the toughest part of this equation is pasta. I love me some pasta.
Yeah.
Now, there's many things that they tell you is a substitute for, and some of them work. But pasta, when they go, you do the zucchini zoodles. I go, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. They go, so they have. And then yes.
You've been to Europe, right?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, the wheat is different.
Right.
It's not dwarf wheat, so it has far less starch. It doesn't raise your blood sugar as much. 2, it's not sprayed with glyphosate. 3, it's got a lot less gluten. And you hear this all the time. People in Europe, when they go there, and from America, they can eat gluten or pasta where they can't eat here.
Right.
And second, if you look at the portion, it's this big. It's not like a giant. I mean, I went to this restaurant the other day, had a plate of pasta. It was like a mountain like this.
Oh, I'd hate going out to eat with you. I'd hate it.
No, but like a pasta serving in Europe is like a little tiny bit of pasta, a few ounces of pasta. And that's a kind of a first appetizer dish. That's fine. It's just these massive amounts we're eating, and when you eat them in a way that's sort of without any protein or fat or anything else, it's going to be a problem. So it depends on how you define pasta.
Well,
so
where would we find the European version of pasta?
You can buy it in America.
Right.
In America. Yep.
What's it called, or what should we look for?
Well, I think you got to look at when you go buy pasta, this is made in Italy, it's from European wheat. It's like, it says it on the label. So you kind of get, it's the stuff that's made in America. So you want to make sure you get the right wheat. And they just have a little bit.
So don't get the stuff made in Kansas City. Get the stuff made in Italy.
America.
All right, Doctor, let me give you a plug here. The Doctor's Pharmacy with Mark Hyman, MD. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. And website, I don't see one here, but if you'd like to meet...
drhyman.com. Yep, drhyman.com.
drhyman.com. Well, keep the good battle up. But I must say, with Bobby Kennedy in place now, I finally have a little glimmer of hope that this is something we can at least start a dialogue on.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
I know.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's happening.
Thank you, Dr. Hyman.
It's an incredible moment. And yeah.
I agree.
Really great.
I appreciate you stopping by. Come back anytime you like. I'm going to be at Levity Live in Oxnard the 29th of November doing stand-up there, and then off to Arena Theater in Texas and Houston doing some shows there as well. Angelo, dates coming up. Should we go to your website?
Go to the website, funnygreek.com.
Oh, funnygreek.com.
Funnygreek.com. Because it's Tsarouchas.com, but I say funny Greek.
Yeah, this is better.
It's better like that.
So it starts with a T. So.
With a T, because it's a TSA.
Yeah.
Tsarouchas.
Yeah. What do we got? Manuka? I had some Manuka honey yesterday, by the way.
And I'm out to Indiana to do a seminar next week.
All right.
Cool.
All right. So now, till next time. Sam for Dr. Hyman and Angelo and Mayhem saying mahalo.